the social model of disability. We're examining a revolutionary concept that fundamentally changed how disability is understood. The question it poses remains profound. What if the problem isn't the individual body, but the world that body inhabits? The medical model framework. Traditional understandings operated through what's termed the medical model. This framework locates disability within the individual, viewing it as personal tragedy, a bodily deficit requiring cure or rehabilitation. The intervention focus centres entirely on normalising the person. The medical model asks, what's wrong with you? The emerging alternative would ask something entirely different. What's wrong with society? Origins of the social model. The social model emerged not from academic theory, but from activist praxis. The Union of the Physically Impaired Against Segregation, UPIAS, provided the conceptual foundation that sociologist Mike Oliver would later formalise as the social model of disability. The model's power lies in a crucial analytical distinction. Impairment refers to the bodily difference or limitation itself. Disability, however, describes what occurs when society fails to accommodate that impairment. It's the disadvantage, the exclusion, the oppression imposed by inaccessible environments and discriminatory structures. UPIAS stated it explicitly. It is society which disables physically impaired people. Disability is something imposed on top of our impairments. This reframing transformed disability from a medical issue into a political one, a question of justice and systematic oppression. The model's effectiveness. Tom Shakespeare identified the social model's impact across three dimensions: political, instrumental and psychological. Politically, its clarity proved mobilising. The target shifted from individual bodies to discriminatory practices and architectural barriers. Instrumentally, it provided actionable objectives. Rather than abstract grievances, activists could identify specific changes, install ramps, reform employment practices, mandate accessible information formats. This practical focus drove legislative achievements, including the Disability Discrimination Act. Psychologically, the impact was perhaps most profound. Relocating the problem from individual to society lifted the burden of shame and self-blame. It enabled positive collective identity formation, transforming perceived personal tragedy into collective struggle for justice. Critical limitations. Yet the very simplicity that made the social model politically powerful became its theoretical limitation. As Shakespeare observed, the simplicity, which is the hallmark of the social model, is also its fatal flaw. Critics, many themselves disabled scholars and activists, identified significant gaps. The model marginalises lived experience of impairment, neglects genuine medical needs, and presumes an unrealistic barrier-free world. The most substantial critique concerns embodied experience. For many, impairment involves chronic pain, fatigue, conditions genuinely requiring medical intervention. Dismissing this reality ignores substantial aspects of disabled people's lives. Additionally, the aspiration towards complete barrier elimination, whilst valuable, remains unrealisable. Some barriers are inherent. You cannot install wheelchair ramps on mountains or comprehensively retrofit 1,000-year-old heritage buildings. This suggests the need for more nuanced approaches moving forward. The social model remains an essential historical intervention, a conceptual battering ram that demolished inadequate frameworks. However, as Shakespeare argues, adherence to its simplicity may now constrain rather than enable progress. The future likely requires holistic perspectives that refuse the binary choice between the problem is the body and the problem is society. A comprehensive approach recognises that disability emerges in the complex dynamic interaction between embodied difference and environmental context. This leaves us with a critical question. If the social model was the perfect tool for initiating revolutionary change, what more sophisticated analytical instruments must we now develop to realise the truly inclusive world it first helped us envision?